It is 7:26 in Barbados. My, how time is flying. Zipping along this morning on the back to school day. And speaking of back to school, our guest is Catherine Ann. Long time no see.
Yes, morning, Doug. How are you?
Marvelous, marvelous. Listen, we're talking about getting kids fit to get back to school, get in the classroom, and keeping fit. Is it an easy task, though? I mean, being a fitness instructor, you know what to do, but how difficult it is connecting with those kids and the parent first. How do you get them off of the ice cream and the rotis and the hamburgers, the hot dogs, and lying in front of the TV or the computer? I mean...
Well, you see, you just knocked the nail on the head, because I was just about to say, in your day and my day, it's a natural thing for children to go out and play.
Play and run around.
Play
the worst punishment was being told that you could not go outside and play.
And had to be in before the street lights went on.
Yes.
But
I'm not that old.
the idea of play, the idea of play nowadays involves your DS and your computer. So the kids' natural instinct to go outside and play has changed over the that a child should have at least an hour of moderate to vigorous exercise every day, which was easy before, but now it's very hard to get to school to come in and change and go outside and ride their bikes, go walking, play a little football. And mind you, the pressures of schoolwork and so on are there, but the fact is that we're missing a lot of that, and it's beginning to show up a lot in our society as the children are getting heavier for their age groups.
But isn't there a way you can adapt technology to help this whole exercise process?
Like Wii Fit.
I played tennis with my son on the Wii, and you know, after the first set, I said, "Okay, coming right back." I had to go lie down.
Well, that's probably why they developed that particular game, because they found that the children were not taking the time to go outside and interact and be out and be children again. But what we're trying to bring back is that sense of play, all those old games. Maybe you try to play with them.
What type of games you play?
Well, in our kids' fitness, it not involves the actual activity, but we taught nutrition, and we try to build their self-confidence as well, because interacting with other children is very, very important. So staying at home and playing DS by yourself, or on the computer by yourself, or the Be Fit by yourself, you're not interacting with the other children in the neighborhood. But we make sure we give them drills, we make it fun, so we're doing hurdles and cones and drills. They learn to do basic strength things like push-ups. Remember when they get into high school and so on, and they want to be on the athletics team, this is all going to be part of their training anyhow. So we start them from as early as 7. We have them from 7 to 11 age group. We haven't started our teenage age group as yet. But we want to build their self-confidence. And we also want to get them to, down the road, be active members and productive members of our society without increasing our health care costs. Because remember, if they don't start this activity young, it's very hard to change them when they become older.
Do you find that a lot of these inactive children are more susceptible to cold and other ailments?
And even diabetes, juvenile diabetes.
Yeah, actually, let me tell you how the whole thing came about. I worked with a co-worker, Mina Highland, out of Surfside, and her main thing was the locomotor skills, or the ability of children to catch and run and throw and leap and roll, all those things. A lot of them were losing that, as I said, because they weren't going out and playing and actually just learning these things with other children. But from my side of things, it was spurred because a pediatrician called me, and during last September, say August, September, when we prepared the children for school, she was seeing a lot of children who were way heavier than they should be for the age group. So yes, they were in a pre-diabetic state. Yes, they had high cholesterol, and they were only 9 or 10.
Wow.
And that just shows you what would happen down the road. So my interest was sparked there because of my medical background, because I am very much in the medical fraternity before, and that's where that came about. So between myself and Amina, we put together the kids fitness program, because we want to tackle both things: teach them the old art of just being children, and at the same time try to bring down the fact that they might actually end up being quite ill.
How can we get our children to realize that things like veggies, give or take Brussels sprouts, because I still don't like Brussels sprouts, but veggies and fruit and those kind of things are just as good and fun to eat and tasty as fast food, as the fried chicken and the French fries and all that bits.
Because Doug brought up the whole point about ice cream and so on. I always say they're not really good and bad foods. It's moderation is the key. Because children will be children. You can't take them out to a party and say, you're going to have orange juice and you're going to make sure you have only the cheese sandwich and there's a huge cake right there in the middle of the table. So we teach them the fact that there's good and that there's not good and bad foods, but there's moderation. Yes, you're a child. Yes, you'll have a little hot dog here and there and a slice of cake, but it's not ice cream every single Saturday and Sunday, and it's not the drive-through every Friday, Saturday as well. So we teach them nutrition. We make it fun, and by the way, parents, yes, you can chop up the veggies and hide them in any meal, you know. You don't have to lay them out on the side by themselves. You can actually teach them. Yes, if children like to hold the vegetable and crunch it, fine, but you can make sure they get their vegetables by just incorporating it into a soup, a salad, a chopped up sort of tossed up pasta. And we teach the children all this, and we actually use a little bit of peer pressure. We teach them how important it is to have their proteins and their veggies, and yes, the carbohydrates as well. And we make sure they go home and tell the parents.
What about things like snacks? Because you find that the snacks, then, if you put a snack in their lunchbox for them to take to school, that sometimes it's corn curls or it's cheesies or whatever. How about a healthy snack and getting them to? And some of the things that we think are healthy are not. I was shocked at how much sugar is in those little chubby drinks.
Yes, or any of the smaller drinks. Two things are of concern. Because of our busy lifestyle too, a lot of children are looking after their own breakfast. In other words, they get a little $3 or $4, and when they get to school they say, just get something. So of course the child is going to pick something blue to drink and something crunchy and yellow to eat. Instead, style has just picked up and up.
Are you kidding? You know how good a blue frost tastes?
Moving on.
Learned that from my son.
And then we teach them also by week 2 in our program, we're teaching them to pack their own lunch boxes. Again, it's one thing to have the parents in, and we do bring the parents in for nutritional lectures, believe it. We bring them in and we talk to them as well. But the fact is that we teach a child to pack their own lunch box. Remember the old saying, you know, you can give a man a fish, or you can teach him how to fish.
But how do you encourage them to put the apple in or the orange, you know, because my son...
And not swap it at school with the person who has cheese.
I have one child who does that. His mother packs it really neatly, and he goes and does a sort. He's the only person who can talk somebody into eating an apple and take back their chocolate chip cookie. But the fact is, if we explain, the children are very absorbent to knowledge. If you explain to them how it's going to help them, how down the road it's going to get into their muscles, and it's going to make them stronger, and they're going to catch less colds. Remember you were saying less colds and so on if they eat an orange, as opposed to having a corn curl. So once you incorporate that into it and make it sensible and let them understand that, they are willing to give it a try, as opposed to you have to pack an orange or you have to pack a banana or apple. So you explain why.
Kathy, how long does the program last?
Well, it starts today at 3:15 at Surfside, and we're ages 7 to 11, and it runs 12 weeks. We try to make it the same length roughly as the school term, because then parents are picking up the child from school, they can drop them straight to us, and by 4:15 we're finished. Whereas in the summer they're all at different things. They're doing camps, they're traveling. So our last set that we had, they went off and did their only camps, and I sent them home with homework. They're supposed to come back with a nice essay telling me everything they did. No, they had homework. They have to tell me what they did during the summer and how much walking they did, and they ride their bikes. And children, remember that helping mommy and daddy with chores is also exercise. I list it as one of my exercise activities.
Now tell me, with this kids' fitness, do you give them homework?
Yes, they do. They get little bits of homework, fun stuff. They have to write a food diary for me, get a little old exercise book and write down what they eat every day, write down to how it was done, how the egg was boiled or whatever. And then I give them little tips. You know, well, you could leave out that little bit of butter that you put on it. And we talk to them sensibly about that. They write poems for me. They come back and tell me.
That sounds like fun. We should be doing this.
They come and tell me like how many jumping jacks they could do in a minute. They learn to watch the clock and see how many jumping jacks they can do. So we make it fun. We make it, and we tell them, you know, drag a friend in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That sounds like a great idea, Kathy.
I mean, it sounds terrific, and you know, I wish I could participate.
Should be interesting to have you back at the end of the 3 months and probably have a couple of the kids with you to see how they did, if they've lost any weight, how they feel now about exercise, and that sounds like a lot of fun.
Check them out first.
Check them out, see how they're doing.
Yeah, we actually do assessments beforehand, and I usually say to the parents, it's not like you're trying to promote a lot of weight loss in the child. Remember, the child is still growing, but what we're trying to do with a lot of them is to make sure they don't put on any more. So as they grow taller,
they grow into the weight.
Some of them need to, but not all of them. So they grow into unreasonable weight for their height.
If you're any reflection of the success of the program, I am sure it will work.
Thank you so much, Doug.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Kathy.